In this video, I'm going to talk about how to hit a softball. There is a lot to this swing, but I'm going to do my best to keep this very, very simple and break it down to where anyone at any age can understand how to hit a softball. So let's start with how we set up in the box, and this is all going to be player preference. You can be up, you can be back, you can be open stance, you can be straight in a line with your feet, you can have your feet close, whatever is comfortable for you. What I like to do is I have the middle of the plate in the middle of my body, and I have just a little bit of an open stance. You want to find out what's comfortable for you. So let's talk about the first part in the swing, and that's our load. So when the pitcher goes back into her motion, we're going to start as well, and we're going to start our load. So in our load, what we want to do is start to shift a little bit more weight onto this backside. So our power comes from this backside, specifically our back hip. So we got to get this weight stacked onto this backside because eventually we want to unleash it. So when you're loading, think about sticking your butt back. You're going to hinge just a little bit in your hips, and you're going to feel majority of that weight start to stack into that backside. So after our load is our stride. So when the pitcher is about right here, about to come down, we're going to slowly start to take our step. And I say slowly because we want to be slow and controlled. It's going to allow me to get where I need to be, and it's going to allow me to see the ball. So the load and the stride, slow and controlled. So a couple things that you want to think about as you're taking your stride and you're getting your front foot down. The first thing is when you're taking your stride, you want your hands to go back, separated away from your body. The reason for that, it's going to give you more power. We don't want our hands even with our body because it's going to be really tough to produce power that way. Think of it like throwing. You don't get a ball and go straight to here to try and throw. You can do it, it's just that ball's not going to go very far. What we want to do is field it, get the ball back, and then throw, because we're going to get a lot more speed behind the ball. And you can also think of it like a rubber band. You take a rubber band and you pull it apart. So this top hand's going back while this bottom hand is going forward. When you let go of that rubber band, it goes flying forward. So same thing like hitting. I need my hands to go back while my front foot goes forward so I can feel that stretch. If I can feel that stretch, I'm going to get a lot more speed behind that swing. The other thing you want to think about when you're taking your stride and getting your front foot down is when your front foot's down, that knob should be facing towards the catcher. Now, this isn't going to be the exact same for everyone. We just don't want the knob up because then our barrel drops. We don't want the knob straight down because then our barrel is straight up. We want that good in between to where knob's pointing to the catcher. We have a good angle here, so when it's time to get our barrel into the zone, we can get there quick. Then the last thing, when you're getting your front foot down, this is called your hitter's position or your launch position. You want to think you have about 60% of weight on your back leg, 40 on your front leg. Because like I said, our power comes from this backside. So we need a little bit more weight on this backside in order to fire forward. If I'm a little bit too straight up and down, or a little bit too forward, or a little bit too back, it's going to be really tough to fire those hips hard. So the next part in our swing is contact. So when I start my swing, my hips are going to turn first. I've heard some people say that they like to think their back knee goes first. I kind of think it's the same because it goes together in my opinion, but it's this back side that fires first while your hands are still staying back. Notice my upper half did not turn at the same time. I need that stretch and I need that separation because that's going to give me the rubber band effect that I want. So my back hip goes, and the next thing that goes is my knob to the ball. So it's a slight movement of bottom hand to the ball, and then you'll notice my back elbow starts to tuck close to my ribs. This is going to keep me connected. So when I say connected, my hands don't get away from my body. If my hands get out away from my body, my barrel gets out away from my body, I'm either going to miss the ball or get around every ball and pull every ball. So my bottom hand is going to the ball, my back elbow is staying tight to the body, I'm turning, and then this is me at contact. So at contact, my hands are just a little bit higher than my barrel. If my barrel is higher than my hands, I'm going to be chopping at every ball. With that, my hands should be in front of my barrel, opposed to barrel in front of my hands. I need my hands in front of my barrel because that's going to allow me to stay inside the ball. So what I mean by staying inside the ball, think like you have a ball coming right at you. You want to split that ball right down the middle. My goal is to hit the half closest to me. So I like to set up the ball like this on the tee. The seams closest to me, I'm focusing on hitting those. If I do that, It's going to allow me to stay inside the ball. My hands are going to be in front of my barrel, and I'm going to be able to hit the ball wherever I need to. If I hit the seams on the outside of the ball, my barrel gets away from me, I get around the ball, I'm going to be pulling every ball. So the other thing that I want to think about at contact is my weight is behind my front side. So this front leg needs to be locked out. We want to take this backside and we want to fire it forward. However, we need to go up against something very strong. If I stay strong in my front side, I'm going to be able to stay behind the ball and hit line drives. If this front side is mushy, all my weight's going to leak forward and I'm going to be on top of the ball or I'll miss the ball. So a good visual at contact is to think your chest is going to be behind your belly button. If your chest is over your belly button at contact, your weight is forward, and again, you're going to be on top of that ball. So take your backside and fire it into this firm front side. If you're doing that correctly and you're firing your hips, when you're at contact, your back toes will be to the pitcher and your back heel will be up. If you swing hard and your back hip doesn't move, your toes aren't going to move. They're going to be pointing that direction, which just goes to tell you you didn't fire your hips. So at contact, your back toes are the pitcher and your back heel is up. So the last part of getting to contact, and it's the most important part, is making sure that our head is staying very, very still and our eyes are staying right behind the barrel. If my head stays down, my hands are going to stay straight and my barrel is going to stay through the zone. Think of the zone as like a tunnel from home to pitcher. We want this barrel to stay straight as long as possible, and it's going to allow me to hit the ball where I want to. The second my head comes up, my hands go with it and my barrel rips out of the zone. So after contact, we are then getting to extension. So my barrel is staying straight from contact to extension. Top hand palm is going to be up, bottom hand palm is going to be down. And with that, when you're getting to extension, you want to keep that tilt. So you want your head to be over your toes. You want a little bit of tilt in your shoulders. If you get to contact and then rip your shoulders up, so your shoulders are now straight across, your hands start to rip out of the zone. So think contact, you got your tilt, extension, and nothing changes. Head stays down, your eyes stays right behind the barrel. After extension is your follow through. So to sum it up, first step is load. We start to gather that weight into that backside. We're gonna start to sit, hinge at the hips. Next step is our stride. When I take my stride, my hands are going back away from my body. I'm getting my front foot down. You have about 60% of weight on your back leg, 40 on your front leg. Next body part that goes is our hips. I'm going to tuck this back elbow close to my ribs, and then I'm getting to contact. At contact, my hands are a little bit higher than my barrel, and my hands are in front of my barrel. I am behind my front side, so chest behind belly button, and my back toes are to the pitcher with my back heel up. I've got a little bit of tilt in my shoulders, so my head is going to be over my toes. My eyes are going to be right behind the barrel. After contact, I'm getting to extension. I'm pointing the barrel straight back to the pitcher, bottom hand palm down, top hand palm up. I still have that tilt in my shoulders. My head is over my toes. My eyes are down the barrel. After extension is follow through.